Hello, everyone, and welcome to Breathe Motivation. It is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. I hope you guys are out there traveling safe and doing everything that you guys want to. You guys get to spend some time with some family, friends, and be thankful for them tomorrow and have a great weekend. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. My name is Anthony Hester. So glad to join you today. It's episode 139. So, tomorrow, it's almost bittersweet. I'm going to be stopping the podcast for just a little bit, for a couple weeks, maybe, 2 weeks to a month, to really just kind of recharge my creative batteries and really create, just a different, kind of show. I took some of your guys' feedback from the survey that we've been doing for over a month now, and we've had some great feedback. You guys want to see videos, you guys want to see more blog, you guys want to see this show maybe a little bit more condensed where it's not daily, because a lot of you guys said that it's very hard to keep up with so much content. So, I'm looking at how many, days these shows will be, looking anywhere from 1 to 3, and then also including video as part of the content and being able to have a little bit more time to be able to do that by not doing this 7 days a week. So I appreciate all you guys' feedback. I know this show is going to get better as we get back and really dig into the content that you guys want to hear. I am still available on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Breathe Motivate. Breathe Motivation is the Facebook page. Anthony Hester at breathemotivation.com is where you can reach me as well. So I want to continue to hear from you guys. I know I'm coaching some of you guys, so I look forward to that and continuing that. But I'm really excited for this next chapter with Breathe Motivation in the podcast and all the things that are going to be created over the next couple weeks. So excited for that. So let's get to today's topic. So I want to leave you with a topic that's really, it was interesting to really think about this today. I don't know what kind of spurred this, but in my mind, it really made sense. And I want to be able to give you guys a very strong, send off as far as for the next couple of weeks. So let's start off with the definition. So the definition for today is specific. So it's clearly defined or identified. So as I was just sitting around at work, and I get a lot of time to think, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but sometimes it can be a great thing because it gives me the ability to really kind of ponder and really understand where I'm at, where I stand, and all that good stuff. But one of the biggest challenges I think that we have in life is really getting specific. I think a lot of us generally look at life in this general sense. And, a lot of us want to be able to accomplish great things, and we're not really sure how to be more specific. And, we've got to be able to get more specific to our dreams and our game plan and our, successes, because the more general we are, the harder it gets to be able to really accomplish our goals, right? One of the biggest things and what I've looked at is really, when I started a business, my goal was, I had to figure out, well, what's my specific goal? What do I want to accomplish out of this? And, as I start to look at, some of the things around me with this podcast and, with the websites and all these things, I have to get really specific, because if I'm not specific and my goals aren't defined, it's very easy to get off of track. And, honestly, if I'm being honest, what I look at is like, I had an idea for this podcast and where I wanted to go with it. And I think I was a little bit more general in the sense of what I've talked about. And I know I've talked about some great things because we get a lot of feedback from you guys about certain topics and really enjoying those. But, I need to be more specific about how the show is and where it's going. And, I think that's part of being human, is being, sometimes we get so general and so caught up in that idea that, it's very hard for us to really define what we want. And we've got to be able to define what we want to get what we really, really are going after. And it's interesting to see, how much confusion, how much, fear we get because we're not clearly defined on the goals we want or what we want to attain. And I'm part of that boat. There's so many times that I'm like, man, I get frustrated or I get upset because I just am not seeing any results. And, you got to ask yourself this question: how do I expect to see results if I don't have a specific goal or game plan, right? And that's what we've got to be able to do, is we've got to be able to define that. And you've got to be able to define what you want and be okay, knowing that, hey, this is what I want, but here, what are the specific steps I have to take to get there? And, it was good to have a conversation with Antonio. So he was like, one great thing that you need to do, he's like, this is what I do is, he's like, I almost, I start at the finish line and I work backwards to really see what I need to do to accomplish what I do. And I was like, man, that's really good. And, I've heard that before, but I don't think it really made sense until, he kind of refreshed my memory on that. And, so Antonio, thank you for that. But I really appreciate, that idea. And we've got to be able to really get specific to our goals. And if we're not specific to our goals, that's where the frustration lies. That's where we create these fears within ourselves. And we've got to let go of those things. But the only way to do that is to get pen, paper, start writing things down, or on your computer or tablet. I love to do pen and paper because I can go crazy, and I usually do it in pen so I can't erase stuff and overthink things. So I start to just write a bunch of things down. So if I write a goal down and I'm like, what do I need to accomplish it? And I just write a bunch of stuff down, and then I start to eliminate things that don't make sense. And that's how I kind of, create. It's like, it's a mess on paper, but it slowly starts to get there as I start to reread those things. I kind of just freestyle and free think, these ideas of what I have and how do I accomplish these ideas. And then I start to get more specific as I start crossing out the things that aren't necessary. But I want to be able to be open to whatever ideas and whatever pops in my head, because a lot of the times, when it came down to creating these episodes, I would have all these ideas and I would just write them down. I'd write a key word and I'm like, okay, great. And, it's interesting to see a lot of people, there was a songwriter that wrote Man in the Mirror for Michael Jackson. And they used to just write names of songs in a notebook, and then they would go look at it and they, all of a sudden it inspired the song. So it was interesting to see that, but that's what I like to do. I just like to write these things down and things just kind of create from there. And you allow yourself to create this process and be free in that process. And that kind of takes the pressure off of you. And I think that's what really helps people, is to be able to take pressure off yourself. When you get specific, you know exactly where you want to go and where you want to end up, right? And if you do that, things will be so much easier for you. So you've got to be specific in what you want to attain. And that's why I'm really kind of taking this break. As this popped in my head, I was like, this is why I need to take a break, is because I need to get specific as far as this game plan and Breathe Motivation as a whole. It's a business and a podcast, and, really just kind of bringing them all together. And I haven't been able to do that. So I needed, I was like, I was trying to reason with myself of why I needed to take a break, because I don't want to stop it. But, as I continue to go, and I'm like, no, I like I said, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I'm like, I got to be able to take time to be specific about, the content and where it goes and being creative. And I think sometimes you can put yourself in a box based on what you do. And, as you start to get in that box, that's the time where you've really got to take a second, think about what you're doing, and be able to, push your way through and get better. So, if this, just be specific, take your time to figure out the goals that you want, but go after them, but be very specific in your behaviors, be specific in your goals and what you're setting and how do you get there. You've got to be able to analyze that and get better. So it's a big key for you to be successful. And I think that's one of the biggest keys that I think a lot of people don't talk about, that we've got to be able to be aware of, and really win. And that's how we win, is to get specific and, really get down to why we want something. And a lot of the times when you get into that point, you really discover what you want and how you do it. So just get in there, do what you got to do, and win. So let me leave with this quote: don't become a wandering generality. Be a meaningful specific. That's Zig Ziglar. So check out our website, breathemotivation.com. And as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.